Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to RVCCIS.Info, the channel where faculty representatives from Rock Valley College's Computers and Information Systems Department talk to you, our students, and the community in general about things, vaguely speaking, that have to do with computers and information systems. Today is another venture into our series for finding work during a pandemic. This time, what we're going to talk about is building on last time, starting your interview prep before you even get to the interview. And today, what we're going to talk about is dressing for the interview. I know between Stephanie and I, speaking of which, we should do introductions.
Yeah.
On this side of me is Stephanie Washer. And I'm Eric Wolf. We are faculty representatives from Rock Valley College's Computers and Information Systems Department. I forget that some of the times I expect. So I know one of the questions I get that we don't spend enough time on because people are just uncertain is how to dress for the interview. So we're going to cover the things that we're covering because we want to keep everything in a nice, consistent kind of a bubble for you guys. Is we've been featuring a lot of Indeed here in the series. So we're going to do that again with this one. So you can check in the comments below, or in the description rather below, you can find the link that we're primarily referencing here. And again, it comes from Indeed.com, which is a fantastic reference for you for when it is that you look for employment. So without further ado, how to dress for a job interview.
Yeah, and one of the first things that I saw from the Indeed site that I just went, oh, I guess I didn't never thought about that, was research the company's dress code to make sure you know what the dress code is. I had a job straight out of college that was, I had to wear a suit every single day. And I probably should have researched that a little more before, so that it was a little expensive for a college student.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just rack up the debt and hopefully that job will pay for it.
Yeah, so I wore a suit to the interview, luckily, but dang. So research the company's dress code.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. And don't overdress based on that. If and I'm not trying to pick on fast food here. I know it's a fantastic way, especially to pay through college, because they have crazy hours that can accommodate you. But don't show up in a suit and tie for a fast food position. That's way too incongruous. They're not looking for that. Don't never ever show up in a tuxedo. I understand why the gentleman showed up in a tuxedo, because it was the only thing he could borrow that was a dress dress up thing, but it was literally, he looked like an ill-fitting James Bond. And it was unfortunate. So and both of us were blown over by how fantastic an idea that is. Research their dress code. Like, all this time I've been doing it the hard way.
Yeah. And your comment made me think of David Byrne in I can't even remember the name of the music video where he had the big suit. And so I think that kind of flows right into make sure that your clothing fits appropriately, so that you don't you want to make you look as professional as possible. And too big of clothing or too tight of clothing just doesn't help with that. It makes you look, it doesn't make you look professional.
Which kind of goes to the number 2 part here, which is wear things that just for your own psychology, make you feel comfortable or confident or whatever you're going to need to get through that interview. You don't want to be uncomfortable, because an interview is by its very nature, for a lot of people, uncomfortable. So, for the gentlemen out there, if you're not used to wearing a tie, maybe don't. If it doesn't require, I don't know, I guess, what to tell you what it's going to require, but make sure that you're comfortable in it, because if you're sitting there the whole time, like, trying to pull the collar off or scratching at whatever you're wearing, that's really going to have a negative effect on you and for your interviewer.
Well, and buying the appropriate dress shirt that fits at the neck, it's kind of hard to figure it out at first, but it really makes a big difference. And then like my brothers have really, really long arms, and so they
Hmm.
always have a hard time finding the right shirt. So
Yeah,
my,
every dress shirt I have comes up to here with
yep.
my arms straight down. It's
Yeah. Yeah, my
yeah.
brother has tattoos. That's the other thing is you want to find out. I mean, he has almost a sleeve on the one arm, and he
Hmm.
worked for, I think it's Anderson Automotive.
Okay.
He applied there, and he when he interviewed, he wore a short sleeve shirt, and they immediately told him, "You have to wear long sleeves for your job. We have to cover those up." So they did not want the tattoos to be
Yep.
seen. So that's another thing to think about. I mean, I know, you hate it when people judge you, but they do. And
Yeah.
so you want to be as presentable as possible and be comfortable on top of it. I have one student that was a high school student, and he wore baggy pants and baggy shirts and all this, and he was just uncomfortable in just about everything. But we found him some black khakis that they looked a little dressier than regular khakis, and he felt comfortable in it, and he
Hmm.
did well in his interview. So
Yeah. You only have to do it for an hour,
mhm.
or however long it happens to be, the car ride over plus the car ride back plus the interview, I suppose.
Mhm.
So, you'll probably be okay, but the more comfortable, the better. And, that's really the case. And it is the case with, you know, make sure everything fits. Maybe that's a good um segue to number. It's on the list again. You can find it in the
Mhm.
comment or the description rather below, but it's number 8 in the Indeed list. Is ensure clothing is pressed and wrinkle free. um that's a real detractor if it looks like you just got it out of the hamper.
Yeah.
um we said probably also make sure it smells okay,
Yeah.
because you're in a
Yeah,
small
who
room
knows?
probably.
Yeah. Well, if there's a stain or something on it, I like today I there's this taco truck that's near where Belvedere High School is, and my poor truck smells like tacos. And you
Hmm.
don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want grease stains. You don't want to smell like
Right. Yeah.
a
So
taco truck.
avoid onion foods. No gyros before interviews. That's probably a terrible food. Nothing
Don't
that's gonna
eat.
just be, yeah. Just you do have to be aware that the interviewers are gonna take all of that as part of the whole package.
Yes.
So, you know, just uh, 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 a little dab of deodorant. Make sure you're clean. Make sure you're not greasy all over the place. If you can play guess the stain with your shirt, it's probably inappropriate for the interview today.
Yeah.
You please actually do not have to put like a bucket of cologne over your
Right.
head. You do
That's
not
what I was
need
gonna
to,
say.
like, that's a
Don't
little
bathe
too
in it.
much. Yeah. And especially now with as many people have, both allergies
Mhm.
and negative,
Headaches or whatever.
reactions to those kinds of things, that can be a real negative.
Hmm. Hmm. So, and I think, oh, and then along with, I can't remember if we talked about this yet or not, but so ensure your clothing is pressed and wrinkle free, no stains, snags, pet hairs. I always, if you're wearing black and you have a white cat, which is, I have a white cat and I have a black dog. So I gotta use take off all of my pet hairs before I leave the house and make sure there's no holes in it, but avoid revealing clothing on top of it. You want to
Hmm.
make sure that that you're just appropriate all the way around.
Yeah, yeah. Just you don't want to stand out in any way in a negative way. And even if you think the revealing clothing is a positive, you've washed and you've whatever your chest hair so that it's just right. Just maybe keep it to a minimum. And and the very, very last piece of advice here that we thought was really ingenious is don't overthink it. The amount of time sometimes it takes for us to talk a potential interviewer, or an interviewee rather, down from the ledge about, well, I don't know, like, is khakis just right, or do I wear a belt with khakis, or is, like, it just relax about it. The whole end to end experience for you and for the interviewers is it's problematic. It's uncomfortable. It's, it's very, very few people are like, yes, I get to either conduct or go on an interview. So don't overthink it, because most assuredly your interviewers are not overthinking it either. They're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Mhm.
And as long as you don't stand out for anything negative there, all of that could be left over is positive.
Right. And you would do the same for a Zoom interview.
Hmm.
And I would say make sure you put appropriate pants on. Like wearing pajama pants is fine, but you are going to have to make sure that you don't stand up then. But
Yeah,
and
aim that camera. You got to be sure.
and you know, I just go ahead and I just wear the pants because it's like Eric said, it's only an hour. You know, there's
Hmm.
not, and Zoom interviews, I have not had one last over an hour. I can tell you that.
Yeah, those are pretty typically. I'll tell
Mhm.
I like I mentioned 2 episodes ago, I I will roll the dice with stuff like that, honestly. So I look for any small comfort where I can get them here in 2020, and I have had Zoom or, insert Skype meeting or whatever here, where I've done the tie and sport coat and track pants, just because I ain't getting up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the camera is not going to move from here. I have bigger problems if my iMac comes crashing down off of the table. Then shoot, they're going to see my pants. Like, how am I going to pay to replace this? So I don't know. It's Stephanie's is better advice than mine on that one for sure.
Well, you never know. I always think, oh, I'm not going to get up and move, and I always end up moving. But that's just me. Some people don't get up and move. I mean, I think you can tell in these videos it's hard for me to sit still.
Because we pace back and forth over a classroom like predators for 4 hours at a crack. The sitting still stuff is really part of the most difficult thing about being at home, for sure.
Yes, that is for sure. So, and I think that's it. I think
I
we can.
think that's it. And if it seems overly simple to our listeners, that's because it is.
Again,
They again, it's not as complicated as you're making it out to be. It's not that it can't be challenging. It's just not that complicated. Make sure everything is wrinkle free. Make sure it fits. Make sure it's appropriate. Make sure it's not too revealing. And you know what? If you're worried about it, just make a decision and stick to it. That's really the best way we can cap that off.
yeah.
That seems perfect. Um, so, if you have any interview attire horror stories or other, be sure to leave that in the comments for us below. While you're down there, if you've liked the content, please, and you feel generous, I suppose, give us a like. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so that you can be made aware of any and all new content as it becomes available. We're trying to stick to the Tuesday, Thursdays, whatever
Release.
pattern here. Yeah, I goofed it up last week. That was on me. I put it on October 24th because it was the next month over. So you may get a notice in October for a brand new old episode. I'm not 100% sure yet. While you're at it, you can also follow us on our social. We are RVCCIS. We are RVCCIS.Info. That's correct. RVCCIS.Info at both Twitter and Facebook. And you can also follow us on anchor.fm for these episodes as podcasts. So on behalf of Stephanie Washer, Chuck Conkle, Jim Conley, the rest of the Rock Valley College community, stay safe and stay sane out there, everybody.